Hello and welcome, my name is Alex and it's time to take a look at the results of Gameweek 17 and look at the transfers in Gameweek 18. I obviously did a little bit of an oopsie. I spent all of my 5 transfers when they were given, the AFCON transfers of course that is, and in hindsight there are a few players that I should have kept like Semenya, and now that people are selling him, maybe it would be a nice time to sell him now, and I had to use a -8 hit to build a proper team. Now I got rid of 2 players that were injured, so I don't really think that this was an unnecessary hit, but in hindsight, obviously saving some transfers, like so many of you did, would have been a nicer decision. For this game week, I'm really happy with Arsenal clean sheet finally, and then of course every defender chipped in with some points, and in the midfield, Bruno Fernandes' injury obviously caused mayhem, and I sold him already. Now Wilson, the player that I didn't want to punt, I didn't want to jump on the bandwagon, but my other player like Welbeck, he was injured, so I couldn't field a proper starting 11, and I got rid of Anso instead, and Wilson came in, and Anso didn't even start that game, so it's not like it's a bad decision. I'm hoping that Wilson returns anytime soon. It's just like now he's flagged as well. So this is a little bit of a calamity over here. But now I'd like to take a look at some of the fixtures that you can target, and of course some of the players that I already brought in and you may consider as well. Now the rank is actually pretty pathetic, 246. And that just goes to show that not having Semenyo, just this game week alone, just like one player completely changes the perspective, right? So I was in the 50k at some point, and now I dropped like that just by not having a massively owned player, and it's just how template is crushing you if your differentials are not delivering. And I'm not saying jumping on the bandwagon of Wilson was a differential, it's just like I used to have a massive differential before in Welbeck, and he just apparently is injured now, so he cannot even start. For the game weeks, now you can see that we are targeting Gameweek 18, and Man City have fantastic fixtures attacking-wise, and they of course have exceptional fixtures up until 22 at least, and then Liverpool. This is actually why I was so scared, because not having Ekitike in my team, whom I'm gonna be most likely captaining, by the way, as well, felt like he's gonna be ruining my game week again, and a -8 hit, it isn't really saving me much, but at least I will have him in the long run because his fixtures are decent, and Liverpool, it feels like they are picking up some form defensively. I don't still trust them, but at least against Wolves, if you have Van Dijk, I think you're good. But for me, Ekitike and the Wirtz also rose in price, so I decided to make the moves a little bit earlier. I wasn't priced out, but I really feel like my team value is not exceptional, so I needed to make the moves earlier. And then Arsenal have great fixtures too, and of course I have triple Arsenal like most of you. Manchester United, now I decided to jump off Manchester United entirely. Obviously Cunha is a very interesting pick. It feels like they're gonna be a little bit struggling without Bruno, so how exactly attacking returns are gonna be, are they gonna be devalued over here? We don't know that for sure. And then Newcastle, Chelsea, West Ham is the team that I brought in. Like, they are not covered in blue, but I brought in Bowen, so I think Bowen can chip in with some points. For defensive data, obviously you're targeting Everton. I assume that most of you have at least one Arsenal defender, maybe 2. And then Liverpool, Van Dijk is a decent pick, of course. Man City, O'Reilly was such an obvious pick, so I already have him in my team. And I had him on my free hit too, but it just wasn't really... Man City weren't really reliable clean sheet-wise, so it felt like now is the best moment to bring him in. I was obviously eyeing that transfer for a while. Everton is the team that you should be targeting defensive-wise, I think. Now that they lost Dewsbury Hall and a lot of players went to AFCON, I don't know if they're going to be scoring a lot of goals, but defensively, Pickford would be a fantastic pick, and I wish I had Pickford instead of Raya so I could save a little bit of money. And then, of course, the likes of Keane, who most likely going to be playing because there's Jared Braithwaite who can step in, and it's going to be a little bit of rotation there, but Tarkowski a little bit more pricey, so look in the direction of Everton defense and West Ham attack as differentials in my opinion. So that's what I did, but my transfers were kind of weird, so I brought in Morgan Rogers, so it obviously feels like another hype bandwagon that everyone is jumping on, and his fixtures aren't great. He's playing like Chelsea, Arsenal away, but after that they are great. So I think even against Chelsea he can produce something. It's just like me saving a transfer ahead of the time. So I obviously was I mean, he's just scoring double-digit goals almost every week. So in the last, let's see, 6 game weeks, he scored 6 goals and assisted once. That is incredible. That is just, I mean, it's a dream to have a player like this. So it felt like I'm a little bit too late on this Morgan Rogers hype train, but now that everyone is going to be picking him later, I think I'll start saving transfers, and it's going to be a saving mode so that I can fix any potential injury situations like the one for Bruno in the future with the safe transfers instead of taking the hits. So his position heat map is exceptional for an attacking midfielder, for a midfielder in general in FPL. Look at how he occupies this side of the pitch, and obviously he cut inside and curl the ball. Bowen, another player that I brought in, and he scored only 2 goals in the last 6 games, 0 assists. But the best fixtures are yet to come, and it feels like West Ham are also finding their form. Obviously, they were thrashed 3-0 by Man City, but that's expected. And another player that I brought in is Ekitike. Now, many people are bringing him in, and obviously he's rising in price. He may rise a few times again, maybe at least once. But the game weeks are coming quick and fast, so I decided to just get him for that Wolves game. And since he is my captain, right, so he has 5 goals in the last 6 game weeks, and we are talking about struggling Liverpool side. Imagine they're facing the likes of Wolves, who are like relegation form, right? So there's going to be a lot of goals. He may even score a hat-trick, for instance, right? So that hit is covered then if I'm captaining him. And Haaland, for instance, doesn't deliver. But we all know how it ends. If you're not captaining Haaland, you're in the mud. And especially when you're fighting against the template where everyone is just playing very safe. This is how I'm going to be playing for this game week. Ryan goal, of course. I mean, it's a reliable 6-pointer. I hope so. But he may concede. And then my double clean sheet modded with Julian Timber, O'Reilly and Mukiele. In the midfield, I have Foden, who is a very nice pick. I wish I had picked him earlier. I missed, I think, 2 game weeks. I just didn't have transfers back then. And then Rice, whom I was very worried about. And it was like really disheartening seeing Saka getting 2 dodgy assists and getting 11 pointers and Rice not getting anything. And it felt like everyone owned Saka. And now Rice, now that he is getting some points, and Saka is not even on penalties allegedly, or he's sharing them with Gyökeres, I feel like it's everyone is now talking about how Saka is not a good value pick, and Rice is the one, and people are making direct transfers Saka to Rice. So I mean, it's just a roller coaster of emotions here. But I'm happy with Rice for this fixture. Morgan Rogers against Chelsea. Now Chelsea aren't necessarily leaking goals at home, but I brought him. I mean, there is not really a lot of other players on the bench that can play whilst I'm benching Rogers. Obviously, I could have gone for the likes of Gakpo, for instance, right, who is allegedly, according to the Slots conference, can't even play in the game against Wolves. And obviously some other picks like Cunha, but I didn't have money for that. So I just decided to go directly to a player that I was meaning to bring anyway, and then Wilson, who is flagged, and that is a shame. Well, I have some bench cover, I'll share that in a second. Now, Bowen is a player that I'm relying to deliver points. He's going to be massive differential, I think, because people won't have a lot of transfer to spend. And bringing both Bowen and Ekitike, like their combined ownership is going to be pretty low, below 10%, I think. But obviously, separately, they're going to be 20-30% owned. They may hurt your rank if they're delivering. So I hope they do, because Calvert-Lewin, he doesn't necessarily have easy fixtures, but he's also a popular transfer and he's very cheap and kind of like enabler, but still delivering. Like he has like 6 and 6 or something. And then Haaland is my captain right now, but I'm going to be most likely switching to Ekitike. So he's going to be my captain. My vice will be on Haaland. But it feels like Ekitike is going to be massive differential. If they find a way to score an early goal against Wolves and completely dismantle them, I hope Ekitike is involved. He feels like the confidence is there, so he can be scoring 2 goals at least. And if he's a captain and Haaland blanks, I think I may even be looking at a small red arrow. Well, I was expecting from the previous game week at least a small green, but it was a massive red, so just because I didn't have Semenyo. So this is just we're stepping on thin ice here. And then on the bench I have Senesi, Thiaw and Minte, all of the players I'm happy to bench, I think. Thiaw can be a player that I may be even playing if Man United have trouble scoring goals like that. They only scored 1 against Villa. Can they score, like, but on the other hand, the form of Newcastle away from home isn't really that impressive. So Senesi, another player, many people still have Thiago, and I decided to get rid of him, not necessarily because I thought it was a bad pick. I felt like the players that I brought in are slightly better, and they also, some of the moves were forced. My hand was forced. Ekitike is just such a appealing transfer over here, so I cannot really, I couldn't contain myself. So now there's Senesi, who may step in instead of Wilson. I'll be happy to play forward back then if Wilson isn't fit, but playing against West Ham away, now they barely managed to scrap a win against Nottingham Forest at home, and Wilson wasn't involved there. It was Raul Jimenez who scored a penalty, so Jimenez was, in hindsight, also a good pick, but it just feels like this team isn't really looking that good unless Ekitike is delivering. So that has been my team selection, and I'm gonna be trying to post videos before every deadline. It's gonna be very difficult because of how many games are. The schedule is very congested, but nonetheless, let me know how you did this game week. What is your rank in the comments, and subscribe if you want to follow my journey as well. I'm trying to get in top 100,000k now. I was eyeing top 10k, but it's not as easy as it feels now. And yeah, that's it for me, and I'll see you next. Peace.